Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is a video that I've been really excited about making for you for some time now. We are primarily going to be tackling the question of, is it better to order one very large pizza or two slightly smaller pizzas? And in what situations would you want to do one or the other? And it turns out there is actually a fairly big difference from a monetary standpoint. So stay tuned and let's get this done. Now, for this particular exercise, I want to eliminate as many variables as possible. Okay, you'll have to do your own calculations with your own pizza place and your own choices of toppings and all of that. I'm going to go with just a classic cheese pizza. Okay, on waiter.com, I found out that the pizza sizes at Mountain Mike's Pizza, which is a local pizza chain close to me, you're going to, again, want to do calculations with your own pizza chain that's close to you. And it says that pizzas are 10 inches for a small, 12 inches for a medium, 14 inches for a large, and 20 inches for a so-called mountain. Okay? And let's say, just for the sake of argument, that my pizza party is going to have between 6 and 8 people in it. Again, wishful thinking since we're in the middle of a pandemic, which keeps me in this apartment all by myself for most of the time. But, you know, when things get going again, we say there's a party of 6 to 8 people. Now, it looks to me, according to this build your own pizza menu here that I'm seeing, that if we want to feed 6 to 8 people, we have two main choices. Okay? We can order one mountain size, which feeds 6 to 8 people, or we could order two large sizes, each of which feeds 3 to 4 people. Okay? So both of those will get us to the amount of pizza that we want. Now, again, we are getting rid of any variables like different people wanting different toppings. That makes this whole calculation a whole lot more complicated. For now, we are going to stick to one kind of pizza. We're going to assume that both pizzas are the same. In this case, cheese, but again, the calculations work no matter what. Okay, so we've got the sizes. Now let's look at prices, okay? At fastfoodprices.com, it says, and I don't know where this mini came from because it didn't show up in the other data. So we're just going to ignore the mini. The small was 10 inches. The medium was 12 inches. The large was 14 inches. And the mountain was 20 inches. So again, for our purposes, for our 6 to 8 person party, we're going to go ahead and eliminate the smalls and the mediums. Our only two choices are large times 2 or mountain times 1. Those are the only two we're going to investigate. But I do strongly encourage you to investigate other options on your own, you know, after watching the video. So here are our two options, right? We've got one option that is a single pizza that is 20 inches across, and then you've got these two pizzas, each of which are 14 inches across. So now that we know our options, I've got two questions. And those two questions are, which option gives you more pizza and which option is the better value? Which one gives you the most pizza for your money? Speaking of money, let's remind ourselves how much these pizzas cost. The larges cost $17.99, so we'll just say $18. So option 2 would be $18 per pizza, so that would be $36, right? Okay. And that's before taxes and delivery fees and tip and all of that. Remember to tip your delivery drivers, especially now. You should be tipping like $10 at least on every order. And then option 1 is about $30 for one pizza. Okay? So our question, once again, which one gives us more pizza and which one gives us the better value? Now, you might already have guesses in your mind right now as to which one of these is more pizza and which one of these is a better value. And I would love for you to write down your hypothesis right now, just as a reminder that it's okay to take a guess and see what happens. Okay? So now we're actually going to solve this out, all right? We're going to start with option 1, and we're going to do some solving here. So our first option, once again, is one 20-inch pizza for $30. So how are we going to determine just how big this pizza is? Looking back at the original problem, how are we going to determine which of these is more pizza? Well, I'm going to look at real estate for toppings, okay? I'm going to be looking specifically at the area of each of these pizzas, okay? I want to look at the area, the total topping area, basically. The total top area of the pizza will tell me more or less which one's the most, right? Pizzas, all these pizzas are going to be roughly the same thickness, so when it comes to volume and weight and mass, those are all going to be directly proportional to the area of the top surface. So we're going to call these two-dimensional circles, even though in reality they are three-dimensional sort of discs, but we're going to solve for area, okay? So for a 20-inch pizza for $30, let's remember that the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. The area is pi r squared. So in this case, the area is pi times the radius. Now, what is the radius of this pizza? Don't say 20. The radius is 10. Remember that 20 inches is the diameter, not the radius. A pizza with a radius of 20 inches would be more than 3 feet across and would be absolutely massive. So let's see. 10 squared is 100. 100 times pi. We're going to say the area is about, 100 times 3.14, so we'll say about 314 square inches. Since this is a real-world problem and we are trying to apply real-world logic to it, it's good to get an estimate. You don't need to be perfectly exact. So we've got about 314 square inches worth of pizza for option 1. And we'll talk about price in a second. Let's look at option 2 now. Our second option is to order 2 14-inch pizzas for a total of $36. So let's see how that works out. We still have area equals pi times the radius squared, but in this case, we're going to double it because there's 2 pizzas. Okay, so the radius of a 14-inch pizza is 7. Okay? So you end up getting an area of 49 pi for 1 pizza. Then we're going to multiply that by 2 because there are 2 pizzas. And we will say that that is equal to 98 pi. Hey, Google, what's 98 times 3.14?
98 times 3.14 is 307.72.
307.72 square inches of topping space. So let's do a comparison. If I order one 20-inch pizza, I get 314 square inches worth of topping space. If I get option 2, 2 14-inch pizzas, I'm actually getting slightly less, not a lot less, but slightly less area for $6 more. So without even having to do a unit conversion, if the more expensive option gives you less pizza, that's clearly the worse value. So which option gives you the most pizza? The 20-inch. Which option is the better value? The 20-inch. Now, I hope that makes sense, but we're going to go ahead and go one level deeper. What if we're ordering stuffed crust? Now, instead of just looking at the area, I also want to have as much crust as possible because everybody knows that the best part of a stuffed crust pizza is the stuffed crust. That's why you order it. So looking at option 1, if we want to maximize the crust amount, we're actually looking at the circumference of the circle instead of the area of the pizza, right? So instead, we're going to say that the circumference, or the circumference, circumference. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. The circumference of this circle, like the circumference of all circles, is going to be pi times the diameter, otherwise known as 2 times pi times the radius. Pi d or 2 pi r are both correct. Okay, so, hey Google, what's 20 times 3.14?
20 times 3.14 is 62.8.
So with the 120-inch pizza, you will get 62.8 inches of crust. Okay? So how about option 2? Circumference is pi times the diameter, right? But, again, we are multiplying by 2 because there are 2 pizzas, right? So in reality, we're going to get 28 times pi.
28 times 3.14 is 87.92.
87.92 inches of crust. So if we look at the two options again, we have the two of them are roughly the same area. You get roughly the same amount of pizza overall, but option 2 gives you a lot more crust. Now, if you're the kind of person that likes crust, or if you're ordering a stuffed crust pizza, this could be an advantage. However, if you're the kind of person that doesn't eat the pizza crust, that just leaves it behind, then option 2 becomes more and more wasteful, as there's more and more pizza there that you're just not going to eat. That's something that we didn't take into account when we were doing our areas, was the thickness of the crust. Now, we're not going to talk about that right now, but I do encourage you to figure it out on your own. If you know the width of the crust on all of the pizzas, you can pretty easily calculate what the actual area for the toppings is. I'm not going to do it here, but you could absolutely do it on your own. So, which one of these options is better? Well, I don't know. It depends on what you like. Math isn't about telling you which decisions are the right ones. It's about giving you data so that you can make informed decisions. And the more math you know, the more you will begin to realize that you apply it in your life every single day, whether you realize it or not. For example, if you didn't realize that one mountain-sized pizza is bigger and cheaper than 2 large pizzas, you could have been wasting your money all this time. So anyway, that's our video for today. Thanks very much for watching. As always, please leave any questions that you have in the comments. You know the deal. I'll see you next time.